What's with the massive show of support from the Biden administration? Many are scratching their head wondering, how could this even be? Well, is it actually support? That's what we're going to break down for you right now is, okay, Israel's not allowed to give a preemptive strike on Hezbollah. That's what came from the meetings. They're forbidden from occupying the Gaza Strip. They're warned not to harm Gazan civilians, and they're forced to open the crossings in the Gaza for humanitarian aid. What is that humanitarian aid? Well, that's actually refuel to Hamas. They said, nah, it's not. But anyway, another 100 million in an aid package to the Arabs of Gaza and the West Bank. Yep, that was also signed. Iran receives $6 billion of unfrozen assets. Biden administration holds their ground that no direct evidence has been made that Iran is actually involved in any of this, therefore kind of protecting, shielding American citizens from the actual truth of what's going on. And another thing that came from the Palestinians who voted in mass to elect Hamas. America says, nah, they didn't really mean it. They don't actually support Hamas. And another thing is America stands behind its two-state solution, unwavering. Guys, we're going to break all of this down right now. I'm Joshua, and this is the Israel Guys. Welcome back to the Israel Guys, where we believe that in a world of Jew hatred and anti-Israel propaganda, you should have a direct connection to the land and people of Israel. That's what we're here for, guys. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can also join our WhatsApp group for breaking news, and always follow us on social media, at least the platforms that we're still on. We're having a little issues with that. Anyway, guys, we're going to get the direct content. I'm so grateful for a great friend, Caroline Glick, who has broken all of this visit down in depth on JNS News. We're taking that content right now to you. We're in massive danger here in Israel from the Biden administration. I want you guys to understand what's actually going on. And that just the intro to the show here, everyone, don't be confused. The Biden administration has not had a change of heart. And all of this, what's seen as, from a real topical level of support, is actually, when you break it down, not a lot of support. If they give military weapons, but then say you can't do this and that, the Israeli military is poised and ready to annihilate Hamas. Who's holding that back? The Biden administration is holding that back. Let's break it down. They had a 7-hour, Anthony Blinken, Secretary of State, had a 7-hour meeting in Israel's war cabinet just yesterday, trying to convince Israel not to go in and to resupply Hamas. Okay, when I say resupply Hamas, of course Anthony Blinken did not say, please resupply Hamas. He used very sophisticated language saying, please bring humanitarian aid into Gaza. Humanitarian aid has always, and by the billions and millions of dollars gone into Gaza, has always been taken by Hamas, and Hamas has not been eradicated from Gaza. Any aid that goes into Gaza will be taken by Hamas, hands down, and Anthony Blinken knows that. So $100 million was just given by the American administration to go directly in for refueling Hamas's war, brutal war, ISIS-like war against Israel. And that's what the president had to bring to Israel right off the top. Guys, and if they don't, this is the deal, if they don't follow those demands by the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, then he's holding back American support, blocking items like the bunker buster bombs that Israel desperately needs in order to go and make an invasion into Gaza. The U.S. has been a massive support behind the IDF and the military here for a long time. But when it becomes really unhelpful is when you have a ground invasion ready to go in, and then the Secretary of State comes in and says, stop, we need to get essentials in, and we need to help these people that voted in Hamas to start with, guys. These guys, the whole public, and they say, no, they didn't actually mean it. Well, guys, this is Arab. We're not talking about the West. We're talking about Arabs that want to see Israel annihilated. The country, the area of Gaza wants to see Israel and the Jewish people annihilated, and that came very clear on October 7th. And now we have President Biden, Secretary of State Blinken, standing as buffers. I want you to understand this. They're standing as human shields between the IDF and Hamas right now. If Anthony Blinken and Joe Biden were not in the way, Hamas would have already been obliterated. This is the facts on the ground. Of course, there's a political shield, and Israel's trying to make things, as politically correct as possible. But those are the facts on the ground here. Many are asking, why did Israel invite them to start with? They didn't. From everything we can see, Israel didn't invite the president, and they didn't invite Blinken to start with. So as I said, ground invasion would have happened. And let me just say this. Why is America jumping on this like crazy? Why are we sending battleships into the field saying, and I'll tell you this, we're saying that if Lebanon enters or if Syria enters, America's there to support. Well, I'm telling you what, rockets have already flown from both, and America still is not engaged. What does that mean? Those warships and all of this stuff, are they actually protecting Israel? No, because rockets are already flying in from Lebanon and Syria and Gaza, and American ships are just sitting there. So to add to it, America has stood by a two-state solution for a long, long, long time. So two-state solution is a ridiculous thing to start with. There's 800,000 Jews living in Israel's heartland, the Judea and Samaria regions. Now, if America wants to place a two-state solution on this, it's impossible to start with, but they're taking this moment with 200 hostages, over 200 hostages, we don't have the full count yet, in Gaza, and this horrific situation, and they're using it as a tool. They believe that they can, and of course this is all speculation on my part, I believe what's happening right now is that they are jumping on the scene to create a Palestinian state and use this incredibly horrific nightmare of a scene in Israel to push that goal forward. We have a massive chip. Israel's going to bargain, unfortunately, and America's getting involved. They're saying, stop, 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 stop. They're seeing a two-state solution in sight. They want to create this. They've always wanted to create this. That's why they're saying, stop. We're withholding military equipment to Israel if they don't do what we say do. That's a really tough one because they want to see an Arab state in the heart of Israel. That's the fact. So is this a helpful visit? No. Any humanitarian aid that goes into Gaza right now, every cent of it will go straight to Hamas. Anthony Blinken and President Biden well know that. The UNRWA, who's in charge of the, also incredibly pro-Hamas, unfortunately, they had UNRWA workers in Gaza that tweeted and said that Hamas was taking their supplies, plundering their warehouses. These tweets were taken down really quickly, and who knows, these people are probably not even alive anymore that tweeted these things. The fact is there. U.S. knows it, but they're doing something else behind the scene. And unfortunately, 200 of these that have been taken and are held hostage in Gaza are now being used as a token for trying to decide who can get what, right? All the world. We see even England's now coming, and all these world leaders that are coming, by the way, are only stalling Israel from getting to what they really want, and that is to annihilate Hamas for this massacre upon the Jewish people. We've got to understand this. The world leaders are engaging in order to stall. They want to stall in order to get what they all want. They all want a peace in creating a two-state solution and seeing Israel weakened on the world stage. Right now, Israel's not strengthened. Biden's visit was not a strength to Israel on the world stage. From the Arab perspective, look at all this money he passed out to the Arab world while he was here. That's not strengthening Israel. That's weakening Israel. If Israel was able and given the back to respond to the horrific acts of terrorism the way they should have, that would be a strong Israel. And if America supported it, that would be a strong America supporting a strong Israel. When we're talking about dealings and working behind the scenes and trying to appease an Arab world that is brutal and wants to see Israel annihilated, that's when we see weakness. And that's what the Arab world is seeing right now, unfortunately. So again, America's released $6 billion in Iranian assets. They've given to the Lebanese army. Don't get me wrong, guys. They're fueling the enemies. America is fueling the enemies like crazy. $236 million annual budget to the Lebanese military going straight to the hands of Hezbollah. $100 million just released with Biden's visit to the local Arabs of Judea and Samaria, West Bank, they call it, and Gaza. This is also on top of the reinstated $5 billion annual budget that Biden already gives to these Arabs of this area. And again, all of the money going from the Biden administration into these Arabs of Gaza and Judea and Samaria is all 100% illegal on the American books. It's illegal according to the Taylor Force Act. Again, all of this is absolutely illegal. Let's get to the bottom line. The bottom line is is the U.S. right now under the current administration is funding Israel's enemies. Yes, they're sending aid into Israel, but then they're telling Israel, you can't bomb, you can't go and strike Lebanon right now. Nope. Lebanon's sending rockets into Israel. Israel's not allowed to strike those. They're telling Israel that they can't bomb in Gaza. They can't bomb hospitals and schools. Now, that sounds horrific. The U.S. government is telling Israel they can't bomb hospitals and schools because they said they're just hospitals and schools. Blinken and everyone in the U.S. State Department, all of them know that Hamas runs the schools, the hospitals, and under every single one of those are rocket launching centers. Everybody wonder why rockets are still, right now, 13 days in, are still flying out of Gaza. Because America does not allow Israel to strike these rocket launching centers in Gaza that are underneath schools and mosques and hospitals. They know full well how to play the international world, and America is playing with Hamas. They're playing ball with Hamas against Israel. You have to know the truth, and you have to understand what's going on right now in this area. Now, to make matters even worse, and I'm not a doomsday kind of guy. I'm very positive, but right now we've got a horrific scene on our hands, and we've got to tell you exactly what's going on. Right now, behind Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, Anthony Blinken, Lloyd Austin, behind these men is who? Because obviously we see a good front of support, but what I'm breaking down for you is the back behind it. What's going on behind it? And behind them is a whole list of Iranian agents and Hamas sympathizers. Let me give you a list. Assistant Secretary of Defense is a registered agent of Qatar. Qatar, one of the biggest supporters of Hamas. Okay. Hadi Amir, he's a State Department envoy to the PA. He's a Hamas supporter and heavy ties with Qatar. Adrian Tabi, Assistant Secretary of Defense for Special Operations, known Iranian agent, not fired, still working. This is all right there in the American, right underneath the top level American. All of these have top level abilities to be into the top level of conversation in America. How about Mahar Bitar? He's a Director of Intelligence in the National Security Council. Who's this guy? He has history of supporting suicide bombings from Hamas. Yep. And former BDS student leader on a college campus. Guys, these are just the beginning of a long list of people that are sympathetic to Hamas, that are sympathetic to Iran, and that's why we're seeing such a weak America in response to what's happening here in Israel. And when America says one thing in the front but does another thing around the back, this is why. We've got a lot of people in the whole American government that are not on the front. What you see, they're right behind it, and they're pulling the strings, and that's why what's happening is happening right now. In conclusion, the U.S. right now is attempting to bypass Israel's leaders and put the IDF, to put it straight, guys, they want to put the IDF under the direct command of the State Department. You want to get this correct. This is what's going on. They want to go straight. They want to decide what the IDF does. They say you can and can't blow up a missile launching site in Gaza because it's under a mosque or it's under a hospital or it's under a school. That is evil. Israel needs to be able to attack Hamas in full right now. We've seen a massive massacre, and we know exactly who was responsible for that. Even though America won't tell you, Iran is exactly responsible for that. Hezbollah in the north, Hamas here, all working together. Of course we know. America is refusing to step to the plate right now and answer those hard questions. Israel's ready to do it, and we need to support Israel now more than ever, and we're not getting it on a government level. Guys, we're here on the ground. Operation Itai is what we're all about here. We're trying to get stuff into these guys as quick as possible. Guys, all of you, you're individuals. Guys, we've seen this before. History is repeating itself right now, and I want you to make a clear, decisive move. You stand with Israel no matter where you are on the planet. You believe in God, you believe in God's promises, and you will stand with Israel, and we're calling all those across the world to stand with God's people now more than ever. We see the world fighting and turning against them on the greatest, most powerful levels. I'm not afraid. The people of Israel are not afraid. They're courageous and they're standing strong on the front lines. Soldiers are ready to defeat Hamas. Let's support them to do it. Guys, as always, stay tuned. We've got a lot of stuff going on here. Don't forget to subscribe, get the conversation going. And as always, tune out the fake news. My gracious. There is so much fake news going on right now that we must stop listening to it. There's so many things going down on the backside that are absolutely impossible. I'm so frustrated right now. New York Times to everyone are publishing things that are absolute 100% lies. Guys, you already know these things, but stop listening to it. Do not subscribe to these networks and stop giving them views. As always, tune out that fake news and tune into what is actually happening here in the heartland of Israel. We'll be back every Monday through Friday, guys, with the direct report from here in the heartland. Stay tuned.